Hi everyone. So I usually give updates on our long-read DNA projects, but today's going to be a little bit different because we're in the process of trying to generate the matched RNA sequencing for these samples. And so to do this, we've really had to focus on building the high-throughput methods to do the long-read RNA from the brain. And just as a disclosure, I'm at the NIH, so obviously I've got no conflicts of interest. However, I am funded by the Gates Fellowship from the Alzheimer's Disease Data Initiative. And I always like to start with a big thank you to my group. So the work that I'm presenting, especially how difficult things have been over the last couple of years at the NIH, has really been because of their hard work. And today I'm talking about the RNA methods. So this was specifically led by Jackson Mingle and Cedric Coem in my group, and really close collaboration with Matei and Jane at Northeastern and Elizabeth Hutchins. So I don't need to go into too much detail with this crowd on why long-read RNA sequencing is really beneficial, but just for a really basic comparison. So we know with short-read RNA sequencing, we can do really good gene-level expression, but because that we've got these small fragments, it means that when we want to do isoform resolution, that we have to do this computationally, and it's inferred, and this means that we can get systematic errors in complex loci. However, with long-read sequencing, with the longer reads, it means that we can usually span full transcripts and we can do direct isoform resolution. However, when we started this project, there wasn't any methods to do this, unlike with the DNA methods, to do this at scale from hundreds of brains, and there also wasn't any computational pipelines to do all of the pre-processing all the way up to the assemblies. And especially, so I work on mostly Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease and neurodegenerative diseases. So we know that the brain is very complex in its transcriptome. So we really want to generate this long read data so that we can look at that. And just for one quick example on why this kind of data is really useful. So there was the first GWAS that was run in Parkinson's disease in the African ancestry population, and they identified a very strong risk variant in the gene GBA1. And we were able to generate really quickly long-read RNA sequencing for carriers, and we were able to identify that this risk variant actually disrupts an intronic branch point and leads to intron retention, as you can see here in the carriers with the G. And so this would have been completely invisible with short-read sequencing. And so this is the kind of questions that we want to start answering from these large-scale data sets. And so the aim of this was to generate long-read RNA sequencing from the samples that we've already generated long-read DNA sequencing. So just for some context, we've sequenced over 3,000 samples on the DNA from large neurodegeneration cohorts. And so with this data, with the matched data, we can start to look at, all this beautiful genetic variation that we're now capturing with long-read. What impact does that have on transcript level expression? We've also got these large Alzheimer's cohorts, so if we've got the long-read RNA data, we can start to look at any transcript level dysregulation. And also kind of the goal of this multi-omic integration is we can start to look at allele-specific methylation and look how that impacts transcript level expression. And that's a resolution that we've never had before, especially in the context of the human brain. So these are the methods that we really wanted to expand on, and for that we built a method called SA-LRR. And so SA-LRR stands for the Scalable Analysis of Long-Read RNA Sequencing. And so it's an end-to-end pipeline which starts with the DNA extraction, RNA, so we do DNA too much, the RNA extraction from the human brain all the way up to the output, which is the assembly. And so the first thing that we did, we were very lucky. We worked with ONT last year, and we were the beta users for the new cDNA protocol that I think they're discussing this week. And so there were slight differences to the PCR, and we were actually really amazed that it completely doubled our median lengths just from kind of the new protocol. So you can see it in the white. This is the old Nanopore protocol that we used, where the median read lengths were about 800 base pairs. However, with the new protocol, this almost doubled. So the median lengths are around 2 kb. And you can imagine, so with postmortem brain, one of the problems is that you can get really variable samples. The RINs can be quite low. However, what we were really pleasantly surprised with is with this protocol, we're getting data that's in line in terms of quality with iPSC cell lines. So yeah, longer reads and more accurate reads that we're not missing many with the mapping quality. And so the next thing that we wanted to do, so what was absolutely key when we started this on the DNA side, to scale up, you really need to automate as much as the library prep as possible. You know, if you're sequencing hundreds or thousands of samples, it's just not possible to do that manually unless you've got huge teams of people, which unfortunately we do. So with Hamilton and with Nanopore, we built a method on the Hamilton NGS star, where instead of doing 8 samples very manually with a lot of hands-on time, we can now do 24 samples on the Hamilton. And in terms of data quality, it's very similar to what you would get manually. And so we're now implementing this on large disease cohorts, and you can literally run the Hamilton and walk away, and it will do 24 libraries for you. And so the next thing that we wanted to do was really make the standardize and make the analysis and the processing as easy as possible. So we built an end-to-end Snakemake pipeline, which is part of Sailor. So this takes us from the base calling all the way up to the quantification. And just really basic overview, so we do the base calling, we do the QC, we do the alignment, and then we use isoquant and string tide to do the assembly, and then we do a TAMA merge as well. And so we're still working very much on the merging steps, but this is kind of a point of principle so that we can start processing our large cohorts. And so we've done this now. The preprint will be out in the next couple of weeks. We've done it on a lot of samples, but the ones that I'm going to show you now are just 10 frontal cortex brain samples. And we've been able to identify with the new protocol 3 main things. So the first one is obviously in the human brain, we're able to capture a lot more diverse transcripts that we weren't able to get with the short read sequencing or the older Nanopore protocol. We've also shown that with the new cDNA protocol from Nanopore, we're getting much more even coverage across the gene bodies. And finally, we were able to pick up the poly-A tail measurement systematically across many samples. So the first thing is that we were able to identify thousands of novel transcripts that weren't identifiable from short read sequencing. So this is just showing 10 samples that we did in-house manually. And we were able to identify lots of novel splice junctions, lots of intron and novel retention events. And on average across the genome, every gene had at least 2 isoforms. And so one of the caveats of doing, any kind of RNA sequencing has historically been that we don't get super even coverage. Specifically with short read sequencing, you normally see a drop in coverage at the 3', which you can see here. So the short read's the red one. And so we've got a comparison of the old Nanopore protocol and the new one that was released in the last couple of weeks. And so you can see here, for the first time ever, we're getting super consistent coverage. Which means it's super important if you think that you really want to understand the isoform structures of these transcripts. And finally, so one of the benefits of doing long read sequencing is that we can capture the poly-A tail. And so here's just the comparison of the cell lines and the brain, looking at the nuclear transcripts and the mitochondria transcripts. So on average, we found that the poly-A tail is about 143 nucleotides on the nuclear transcript and about 41 on the mitochondria. And so we know that the poly-A, its stability is something that's important in aging and in Alzheimer's disease. However, we've not been able to systematically look at that at a transcript level. So we're hoping now with these data sets, that's something that we can follow up next. And finally, so we've now applied this full pipeline to 185 of the control brains that already have the DNA sequencing, and we're actively processing them. And we're sequencing now on the Prometheum back at NIH, a large cohort which is called the ROSMAP, which is a really detailed Alzheimer's cohort that has lots of clinical and phenotype information. And so in summary, so we've optimized and automated the new CS114 cDNA protocol for postmortem brain tissue so that the data quality is now in line with IPSCs. We've built Sailor, which is a scalable containerized pipeline for population scale isoform discovery. And from that, we've been able to identify thousands of novel transcripts that we would have missed with short read sequencing. We're in the process of building a resource from 185 of control brains of European ancestry that we're going to make available as a resource to the community. And we're also actively sequencing the ROSMAP so that we can start to look at transcript level differences in the Alzheimer's disease brain. And finally, the really exciting part is the multi-omic integration. So we're going to have the long-read DNA and RNA from the same level, so we can really start to see what impact is allele-specific methylation having on transcript level expression. And yeah, thank you very much. I'm happy to take questions, and also a very selfish plug, but we are hiring at CARD and we're looking for postdocs who want to do these kind of RNA methods. So if you are interested, please come and have a chat with me. Thank you.